Welcome to the Diversity Diaries. I'm your host, Carlos Jimenez, and in today's episode, we are honored to have Herolind Shala, a professional soccer player whose journey through the sport is inspiring as it is challenging. From his roots in Norway to making a name for himself on the international stage, Herolind's story is of perseverance, dedication, and resilience. Join us as we explore his career, the obstacles he's faced, and the lessons he's learned along the way. My friend, thank you so much for having me and coming here to talk to us. I'm really excited to, get to know you more. What you're doing right now, and obviously to share your story with our listeners, the challenges that you went through. I mean, looking at your career, you've been through a lot of places, so I'm sure that comes with a lot of challenges. And I'm really, really excited to talk to you and share this time with you. Okay.
It's a pleasure.
So, how's everything with you, man? So, what are you up to now? What are you doing?
Everything is good. After some years out of Norway, I'm back again, closer to my family, and I'm just playing, training very hard, and staying focused all the time. That's what it takes.
So, do you feel that with your experience, obviously, how many countries have you been to? Play for, I guess.
Like I played in 4 different countries. I've been out of Norway for almost 8 years. So I've been a little bit back and forth, but yeah. Most of my time outside of Norway was in Czech Republic, and was in Turkey, was in Denmark, and Norway.
Do you feel like being in different places, obviously that comes with challenges, right? New teammates, new coaches, new environments. How do you manage to adapt to different cultures, people? And it has to be fast, right? Because you don't have time to, it's not like a normal person where they have a job and they can adapt slower, but you have to adapt really quick to have an opportunity to play, right?
Yeah, you have to become a professional soccer player. You have to have these skills that is very important. You have to have adaptability very, very fast. If not, it's going to be very hard because, like you said, you come to a new country, you come to a new culture, new language. There's many times when I went out, especially the first time when I went out of Norway. I went to Czech Republic, to Sparta Prague. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anybody there. The way they train was much different than what I was used to. The way they played, the tactics was much different than what I was used to in Norway. So I had to adapt, very, very fast. It was not easy, and also, the big clubs, they don't have patience with you. So they want you to perform straight away because they say, "Hey, we pay you, so you have to perform." But it's not so easy as people think,
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I mean, I can only imagine people that haven't even left the country and just for vacation, and then if you go there to perform and play and do a job, then they expect you to be 100% all the time. But you know what? Before we continue, I want to do a really quick segment here. It's called Would You Rather Questions. Okay. Very simple. So these are questions that are, specific kind of for you and your sport. And this is going to give me an idea of, how you think and you see, and let's see where it goes. Okay. So the first question is this. Would you rather score the winning goal in a World Cup match or assist in every goal of a winning tournament campaign?
I think I would rather score the winning goal because, in the end, trophies is what carries you. It's what the memories you have behind. So I think the winning goal is something I would rather do.
Yeah. I know you've played for different national teams, right? From now Kosovo is the right Kosovo or Kosovo.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Kosovo.
Kosovo. And obviously going to different. You also played for Norway when you were younger.
Yeah.
And
Norway and Albania because before Kosovo recognized by FIFA.
Okay. And how was that transition from, youth Norway and then now to playing for Kosovo? Obviously you were a young individual, but now why that decision and how did that take place?
I was born and grew up in Norway, and I played yeah, my football steps came, of course, from Norway. So even though my roots are in Kosovo, my parents are from there. They had to move because of the difficulties and difficult situation in the 19th, and also the wartime. So I was playing for Norway under 16, under 17, and then under 21. And then I got an offer to represent my country, but at that time Kosovo was not part of FIFA or UEFA, so it was not possible to represent them. And then I chose to represent Albania instead, because Kosovo and Albania is the same, you know. It was just yeah, a lot of politics that split them. So I I got an offer to represent Albania at that time, and I was like, why not? I have the chance. I would love to give something back, to my parents and to my motherland. And then I was like, let me do it. And then I played for Albania on the tournament for 2 years, and then I got taken up to the first team. I was there for 2 more years. And then when Kosovo got accepted in FIFA and UEFA, and Kosovo were able to play official games, then I got a chance to switch over to my country, and I had a wonderful period, also with them. I was been in Kosovo since 2016 when they got approved by FIFA, and it's been amazing, like representing your country. There's no better feeling than that.
Yeah, I feel like, going through all of that, sounds like Kosovo was always like in the back of your head, like you always wanted to play for them, even when you were little.
Yeah, even when I was little, I always wanted to represent, my country. Even though I'm born and raised in Norway, but you always have, your roots there. I had I have still, yeah, a lot of family there. And then, I wanted also to give something back, to my country.
Yeah. So you mentioned your parents. So they obviously immigrants from Kosovo to Norway, and but you were born in Norway, right?
Yeah, I'm born in
Do
Norway.
do you know? Do you have any stories that your parents have shared with you? Like, how was life in Kosovo? Like, how were
Life
things there
was
between
very hard at the time
people?
because, yeah, life was very hard in Kosovo at that time because of the Milosevic regime in Yugoslavia at that time. There was no jobs, no education. It was very hard to raise a family. So my parents, they took a chance, and they moved to Norway to give me and my brother a better life.
That's cool. And was it easy for them, you think, from
Of
Kosovo to
course, no,
Norway?
of course, it is very, very difficult because they had to leave everything they had. They came to Norway with nothing, only empty pockets, and then, they had to start from scratch again. Even though there were difficult times also in Kosovo at that time, especially the economy was not good. But at least they had all their family members there. They had their brothers, their sisters, their parents. So for them, it must have been, very challenging going to a new country at that time. Now, for example, it's much easier because of all the internet and the iPhones and everything. But imagine at that time, they couldn't even speak with their family. Nobody knew anything. They just took a bus, and then suddenly they were in a different new country, new culture, new religion. Everything is different, new climate. It must have been very hard. So, like that
Yeah.
also is another thing, we spoke about. They had to adapt also very fast because they need to integrate into the society. I mean, they had to get jobs, they had 2 kids. So it was not easy.
Yeah, learn the language which
Also,
Norwegian it's not easy, huh?
it's just not easy at all.
I guess you're fluent, obviously, because you grew up there.
Yeah.
So do you, when you were obviously little, do you remember like helping them with like translating stuff, or no? They were like already fluent at the point.
No, no, they weren't fluent. So yeah, of course I had to help them, especially with like documents, for
Yeah.
work or for yeah, everything. Of course you had to do your best, but I was also a kid, I was just trying to do my best, so it was not easy.
Yeah. Last thing on this, is this something that throughout your career, like that you keep with you when you were traveling to other countries? You like you saw your parents did the same, and you kind of like did the same going to different countries, right? Where you like have to play for this team, play a couple of years, and leave. It's like, do you find any similarities, and you find like strength through that?
Yeah, because you learn also from them. Like for me, it's totally different because I go for work.
Mm.
They went to Norway, to start a new life they could never imagine. So for them, it must have been much harder because, for example, if I just went to Czech Republic or Turkey with no money in my bank account and no security or nothing, I don't know what I would have done. So it's you can't even compare it. It's much much harder for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. But I want to ask you this question, which is: would you rather play for your favorite club team but never win a title, or win multiple titles with a team you don't support as much?
I think I would win multiple titles with a team that I don't support that much because in the end, what you have is your titles and your memories. So I would rather win a lot of titles than just play for my favorite club and just don't achieve anything.
Yeah,
Because in the end, football is about achievements.
it is. No, it's black or white, no?
Yeah, yeah, it is. One day you're a hero, the next day you're not. So
Exactly. Hey, would you rather be known for your skill on the ball or your leadership qualities on and off the pitch?
oof, that's a difficult one. Uh, it's very, very difficult question. But I think I will get to know me for the skills on the ball because uh, I'm a, I'm a player with technique. So I like to show, my skills through football and yeah. So I think I would rather choose skills.
Where do you get that flair? Where do you get the skillfulness? You grew up watching someone from Kosovo, or
No,
like it was
actually, I grew up watching a lot of Joga Bonito, Brazil.
not really.
I grew up watching Roberto Carlos, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Romario, all these players. So, I got my skills and everything, just a lot of time it was not too much YouTube, but
Yeah,
we were trying watching a game, and then after the game we went out in the streets, and then had to try all the skills.
yeah, for sure. Hey, what about this one here? I'm curious to see what you're gonna say. Would you rather mentor young players and help them succeed, or focus entirely on maximizing your own career achievements?
Depends, what stage of your career you're in. At my earlier ages, yeah, I would focus on more on myself. But now, when I'm getting a little bit more older, I will focus on helping the young guys come up, nurture them
Do
with my
you
experience
ha-
and my achievements, and yeah, try to have an impact on them because that's also very important.
do you have any story when you were young? Let's say when you went to Sparta Prague, was there any veteran player that kind of mentor you a little bit, or any other teams?
Not so much when I went because most of them they were focusing on you know how it is. It's the competition is very hard, so uh, they don't want to improve you because he will take their spot. So it's very competitive. But yeah, in Norway I had a lot of players. I had one guy I was playing in Norway. He was Jamaican. He was in my team. His name was Fabian Taylor. he helped me a lot with my skills, with my finishing. He told me what I should do, what I should not do. It was like I learned a lot from him because he also played in US at that time, uh, and I got a lot of help from him at a young age because it was my first professional contract, and then he was the best player in the team, and he helped me, to believe that it's possible to reach further.
Wow. So out of nowhere, you didn't ask him, right? You're, hey, help me out. He just came in, like, just
Yeah,
take your
no,
day.
at that I was very eager also as a young talent. I wanted to become better, so all the time I went to ask him, what should I do? What can I do to get better? And I also looked at him when he was doing like finishing training. I went close and I looked how he did it, and then I said, "Can I try?" And then he said, "Do it like this, do it like this," and then step by step, detail by detail, you are able to change some things with yourself and grow.
Wow. I mean, you play for how many years professionally already?
I'm at 16, yeah, more than 16 years now, almost 16
Six.
and a half.
And you still remember that point in time when you got your first contract, and this guy also later
Yeah,
said that he helped you. Out of
yeah.
That's cool.
I still remember. I'm still like I still keep in touch with him. It's like those moments. People don't think that they are very big, but for me at that time, at a young age, it meant a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because one thing I've seen, like, young players, like, usually they're, you're very shy, and you walk into a locker room with grown up men, and then you like bully a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of like push you down. They test your, I mean, are you where are you in that spectrum? Are you like the the bully guy, or like or like a friend, or like
I'm in
what?
I'm in the middle.
Yeah,
When I was younger, I was a little bit more shy.
yeah.
But now, the older I got, I try to help as much as possible. But also, what I've seen in the past years, I've seen also the when I was young, for example, I wanted to learn. I was very eager to learn. Whatever it took, I was able. I wanted to do it. I didn't care how I would do it. I just wanted to learn more and become better.
Mhm.
But now, with this new generation, they think they are so much better than what they are, and they don't feel like they want to learn also. So
Wow.
it's a very, very hard.
Really? So, how do you manage those situations when they say, like, a kid from the second team is brought up to the first team, and he's like, acting up like,
It's a lot of cases. You just have to humble them. You have to speak with them thoroughly, but it's not easy. It's a young man's game, and like when they play like 3-4 games on the first team, and then they get sold for like $3-4 million. Is at,
yeah.
at 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 my time, it was not like that. You have to play at least 3 full seasons to be able to get sold, and maybe you would have gotten sold for like 200,000-300,000.
Wow. Why is the market that crazy now? Hala? Like,
The market is very, very crazy. It's unbelievable.
would you be eventually like in the business of sports, or not really? You don't want to like be like agent or the business side for soccer, nothing like the football.
Uh, I would love to become a coach. After 16 years of professional, and yeah, I still have some more years. I want to play. And then eventually, I'm thinking, get into coaching. I need to take like maybe a little bit. I need to take a little bit time off for sure, because I've been in the game for so long. So I need to get a little bit out of the bubble, and try to live a normal life a little bit until I restart. And I want to get into coaching because with my experience and everything I've been through, I think I have a lot to add to the game.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of stories, and you've met so many players and played with so many people that you can kind of like gather all the information,
Yeah.
and
So
hopefully
many coaches, so
coaching
many
career.
different styles of playing, like
Mhm.
it's very interesting.
Yeah. What about this question here? Listen, would you rather be remembered for one iconic moment in your career, or for consistent, solid performances throughout your career?
No, I would rather choose consistent, solid performances because in the end, that shows that you're perseverant and very resilient. It means that you're consistent in what you do, and I would rather choose that.
Yeah. Next, would you rather retire early with your health fully intact or push your limits for a few more years despite the risks? Like, I mean,
Yeah, it
put it
depends,
this
of
way.
course, what kind of risk it is, and if it's like an injury or yeah, a bad injury, I would rather have my health intact, and then because there's also life after football, football you can play until you retire. So yeah, I would have my life intact because as a footballer, you retire at 35, 36. Some can push it a little bit more, but yeah, most of them can retire at that age. So makes no sense to have health problems because you're gonna live a very long life after football too.
Yeah. I feel like, it's like that balance, especially for you when you're like even week to week when you're managing an injury, right? Like, okay, is it really bad? Can you play through this or not? So I guess for a ending injury career, then you also have to think about that in the future. But I guess if I ask you this question 10 years ago, you would never say this.
No, no, never.
All right, last question here. Would you rather play in front of a passionate home crowd or win an important away game in a hostile environment? In Turkey, for example. What's the story?
I think I would win a hostel away game because those victories are beautiful,
Yeah.
like when everybody's booing at you and you're going out and 40,000 people, once you're out of the game, it's like beautiful, to silence them.
Yeah.
I love it.
I guess I mean I only seen in her stories about when you play in Turkey and the crowd, it's hostile. No, is there any
Very, very
story
hostile.
you remember like playing against big team there and you're like, Poof.
Yeah, many games, I remember we played Besiktas away and Fenerbahce away, and I remember I was like warming up, about to go in, and then I just had a glance at one fan, and he was doing like this to me.
Really?
I couldn't do anything but laugh.
That's funny.
I remember we played another game. We were winning 1-0. And then all the fans they destroyed their seats, and then they started throwing seats on the pitch like crispies.
Wow. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
I was like running, and then I saw like a seat was coming to me. I was like going on the side. It was crazy. Yeah, those moments were unbelievable.
I guess you guys won, right? That's why they were upset.
Yeah, we were very upset. Yeah.
Uh, have you been in a situation where you had to like first be on both sides, right? Be like the person that is actually confronting the crowd or calming the crowd. Like, are you kind of one of those like you like in you know what I mean? Like, are you the one
It
that kind of
it
like
has happened. Yeah, it has happened. For example, also when our team played bad, our
Mhm.
home fans also got very angry, and they start throwing things on the pitch. You know, like lighters, many crazy things, water bottles. So the referee usually he stops the game, so you have to try to calm them down so you can continue. If not, it's gonna be very hard because in the end we might also lose the points if the crowd doesn't calm down.
yeah, man? So obviously you played for so many years, and injuries are a common part of any athlete's career, right? Um, How can you share a time when you face a significant, setback or and how you managed to recover, like physically, mentally?
Yeah, of course, injuries are part of the game, and it's detrimenting when you face one, especially when you are in good shape. That the team is doing well. You're doing well, and then you get a setback like that. It's very very hard, especially on your mental health. For me, like I never had like many big injuries in my career, but I had a lot of small injuries that that gave me a lot of setbacks. One of them was when I were playing on the national team. At that time, I was captain of the national team, and then the next game we were going to play against England away, and I think it was Euro qualifiers, if I'm not wrong. And then 1 week before, there was also another big club that were coming to see me because they wanted to sign me, and then I broke my hand right before that. So yeah, I was out for 2 to 3 months, and that was a huge setback for me. And I wasn't able to play, and then like seeing your team playing national team games, seeing your club team playing well, and and then you're not there to participate and help them. It was very, very hard.
Yeah, and especially because you think it's just a hand, right? You're like, okay, come on, just doctor, just put something, cover it up. Like they couldn't, right? They couldn't protect it and just put you in the game again.
No,
Or like
because
later.
I broke it bad, so I had to do a surgery, and then
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so it was very, it was very bad, but like in the end, I always think that the injuries are, of course, a setback, but everything happens for a reason. So you just gotta control whatever you can control. Whatever is out of your control, you can't do anything about it. So that's the way I focused, and then I try to. After every injury I had, I always try to focus on okay. I don't want it to happen again. What can I control? What can I do? It already happened, so I try to stay consistent in my work and then try to get it back as fast as possible.
And how do you stay mentally, engaged during that period of time, right? 2 to 3 months. Um, in soccer, in football and soccer, or outside, how do you keep yourself refreshed?
First of all, it's very important when you get like a bigger injury. Thank God I never had any injuries or any Achilles or back or something like that. But of course, if you face a bigger injury, it's very important to try to take a little bit off the game. Maybe focus on different things. Many of my teammates they study, for example, if they had on the side. Also, you have like family, friends. Try to like think about other things than just focus on football. Because if you just focus on one thing and you can't do anything about it, then it's gonna tear on your mental health, and that's also will not benefit you in the long term.
Yeah. Have you had any, uh, speaking of mental health, do you traveling through different countries? Have you have any times where you're like, man, this is really tough. I don't know if I can do this,
Of
or I just
course,
do it. Yeah.
of course, many times, very a lot, because you face a lot of difficulties, you face a lot of adversity, especially when you're leaving your country. For me, for example, when I left Norway at the age of 21, I was young. It was not easy. You had to adapt very fast. You didn't speak the language. The guys on the team didn't even speak English. There's very few people that spoke English. When I left to Sparta Prague for the first time, nobody spoke English. The only guy who was speaking English was my teammate Rafa Picolt. So. It was not easy, and then of course with difficulties at that high level, there's a lot of changes too. So, for example, the coach that brought you in, he gets fired. You get a new coach. He doesn't like you at all, so you have to adapt to that too. And then you feel that you're better than some of the guys that are playing, but you don't get any chances. So like. People think that the game of football is just money and fame and living the good life, but it's not about that at all. Like you have to fight a lot if you want to succeed. You have to go through a lot of things to overcome them, because if not, it's gonna break you, and then most likely your career will be over. Because at the highest level, you get a very few chances, so you really have to take them if you and to take advantage of them. If not, next guy comes in, because there's so many players, and it's not easy to get an opportunity, so you really have to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Do you when you've had those situations when they fire the coach, I mean the coach brought you in, they get rid of the coach, and then you feel threatened, I guess, right? You're like, okay, now a new coach comes in. In that moment in time, what do you do to kind of keep yourself like engaged, even though you probably were not getting minutes, maybe you were not in the roster sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And how do you keep pushing? Like, what was the the
Because you
purpose?
always, you always have to see the light in the tunnel. It's not easy. I remember when I first went to Turkey, uh, the coach that brought me in, first game I played like my debut. I think it was like 20 minutes. The next game, I started, and then I scored my first goal in my second game. After my second game, the coach got fired. I got a new coach, and we were gonna play Fenerbahce at home, one of the biggest clubs in Turkey. And then one day before the game, the new coach came. The lineup was set. I was going to start again. The new coach, he just came in and he just said, "Give me your beep. You're not going to start." So it just took me out of the team, and then difficult situation like that is it's not easy, because yeah, it's not always up to you. It's not always in your hand. Sometimes the coach, he can make your career or he can break it. So what you can do as a player is only stay focused, stay consistent in your work. Like I could have just said, okay, I don't want. I'm not gonna train. Let me just relax. I'm not gonna play anyway. But in the end, the one who suffers will be you. So I always just stayed consistent with my work, and then try to get better every day, and then if the coach doesn't like you, in the end you'll get another opportunity, another place, and then you have to be ready, because if you're not ready there too, then forget about it. It's going to be very, very hard.
Yeah, so I guess that was my follow-up question. So basically, you have to keep playing. I mean, train maybe with the second team, and just be ready if you have to move to the next club and just play there. Hopefully, that's that's pretty challenging, man. I think we under appreciate the work that you guys do. I mean, I know it looks on the outside, it looks like fun when you're playing, but the struggles of like day to day being observed, being picked on, like, okay, you need to do better, you need to do better, you have to push yourself every day. Like, you cannot just show up and one day you don't want to do anything, right? Like, I
Yeah,
feel
it's very, very hard, and then sometimes it's also not in your hands. You can prepare as good as you want, but
yeah.
in the end, if the coach decides something else, if he doesn't like your playing style, for example, if he doesn't like, if you have another player in his mind instead of you, like sometimes, you always think that, hey, why me? Why did this happen? Why did that? But in the end, it's also not in your hands. I remember it was one game. I came in for 25 minutes. Had one goal, one assist. The next game, I was in the stands. I was not even on the bench. So yeah, I have a lot of crazy stories, but yeah, it's
But how does it even make sense? Like, I mean,
it doesn't make sense. You cannot even say anything about it. In the end, when it happens over many times, you just laugh about it. And then yeah, try to keep going.
after 60 years, you just like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess, I guess you've seen it so many times, no? So many.
Yeah, it happened so many times with me. I've seen it so many times. Yeah, I had many problems with clubs, like so many coaches, so it was like in the end, it's not always your fault.
Yeah. It, speaking of mental health and like, supporting from people around you, who are the people that that is very tight in your, your circle, right? Your agent, your friends, like how many people you try to keep close to you?
Like very few, to be honest. I have a very small circle. I have some good friends that I stay in touch with a lot. My family, of course, is very important to me. But um, in this game, it's also a very lonely life because you always have to be on the move. So it's not so easy all the time. But you move from place to place. You get a friends there. But then you move to another place and you don't keep in touch as much as you used to. It's normal. And then yeah, people also have their lives, so it's not easy at all, especially when you're moving so much. You need to adapt to new people all the time. And yeah, it's been a challenge, to be honest.
And what do you do? Okay, let's say if you were from Turkey and now you Norway or not, now you Denmark, right? Sorry,
And now in Norway, yeah.
Norway. And no, let's say when you were in Sparta, Prague, or somewhere else, and you're like, what is the first thing that you're like, okay, I need to look for a coffee shop, or I need to like, something for you to like have a routine. Do you have, like a place you're like, okay, you kind of have to feel like home. You know what I mean? Like when people travel, like, okay, if I'm gonna live here, at least I'm gonna find my coffee shop, walking distance if I can. Is there something that you like to do like that, or
No,
you have any
not really,
habits?
to be honest. No, not really. I don't. Yeah, no, not too much actually.
No,
I just
any,
try not to live too far from the stadium because I like to, be there
yeah.
a lot. So, and I don't like to travel too much. So I like to, stay close to the stadium.
Yeah. And speaking of doing things outside of, football and everything, I mean, obviously you put this on Instagram and you also are a business person, right? Like you're now have some things going on. And how's
Yeah.
that keeping you busy nowadays besides, balancing the soccer side and now thinking for your future in business endeavors?
Yeah, of course, because as a footballer, you make good money, but you make it in a short period of time. So, for example, if you're a doctor or a lawyer, you make that amount of money until you retire. I don't know what's the retirement age in the US, but yeah, here you can retire at 62 to 68, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, we make good money, but we make it in a short period of time. So after you become like 33, 34, it's the money, stops. So you have to invest them, and that's what I did. I invested in real estate. So yeah, I have rental properties that I rent out, and
Nice.
it keeps me busy, and it's safe. You get passive income, and then step by step that can build to bigger things.
And have you have any issues with the business side, or everything has gone like flawless and easy?
Yeah, everything has gone flawless because I also do the work. I find, of course, good tenants that keeps me, that keeps paying and keeps my properties good. So yeah, I never had any problems with that. Because
Nice.
also you have to do the job yourself and find the right people. You have to find the right properties. So yeah, everything has been smooth on the business side, and it's been good because then I can focus on my career.
Yeah. So when I want to show you this picture here, I'll pull up from your. Let me bring it up here. I pull this up from Instagram, and this is this one here. Tell me what memories of this brings you back, and where were you there in time?
Oh yeah, this was like 2012 something, 2011. I think it was
Mhm.
2011, some other time. Yeah, it was. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, it says there. Yeah. I went with my friend to Göteborg in Sweden for a 2-day trip, and it was like young up and coming. Uh,
Really? Yeah. Were you already like? What were you playing there?
yeah, I was playing professional in
Oh,
Norway at that time. at the highest level. And then I remember we had some days off, and then we went to like an amusement park, like Six Flags. It was almost the same.
Oh, nice. Do you feel like, back then, that's when you haven't even made the jump to Sparta Prague, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was still in Norway playing. Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna do everything you've done so far at the point? Do you have like that vision?
No, not really, to be honest. Like you went much farther than I could ever imagine.
Really?
But yeah,
Wow.
like because also when you're young, you have a lot of dreams, you have a lot of hopes, and then. But I always focused on staying consistent with my work and then trying to get as good as possible. Like that was the most important thing. And then of course the results came in the end with all my
No.
work.
No, that's incredible. I want to show another one here, and I think this one you actually posted recently. But I think it's kind of like resonates with this podcast, which is about resilience and grit and fighting through difficulties for many years. But you actually shared this online, and I think
Yeah.
it's I'm gonna read the first sentence here so people can hear it, and I'm just gonna describe the picture. Actually, you describe the picture, and I read the some part of the text. Where are you here?
I don't remember how old I was there. I think I was like 5, 4, 5. It was my first club in Norway. It was a tournament, I remember, and then it was like, when at a young age, I always dreamed of becoming a professional soccer player. And then
Who
this
was with
tournament
you there?
was.
Do you remember? Like who was with you there? That who was
No, this pick
taking you
like
to that place? Yeah.
yeah, it was my parents. There was like a yearly tournament at my club. We used to hold them. It was like the biggest thing that we did once a year, and then I was always excited, to go there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of slides during my career from the national team, from different clubs I played for.
Yeah. Why did you posted that about a year or so ago? What was about the time? Just the 15 years or something special happened during the time?
Yeah, this was my 15-year anniversary as a professional soccer player, and it was of course for me and my family as nobody would have thought I would be professional for so long. And I'm also very grateful for having the opportunity to play soccer for so long, because most of the careers are not so long also.
Hmm. Yeah. And is there anything from that that you were like most proud of from those pictures? I don't know if I can show you again. Which one is the one that you're like, man, this one? Let me show you here. Let me bring it up here. Which one do you feel like? Let me go back to the.
I think the one, the third, fourth.
This one.
No, one more. Yeah, this one. This
This
is
one.
yeah. I'm most proud of this moment
What is
because
that one?
this was my first game as a captain for the national team against Denmark,
Mm.
and it
Against
was
Denmark. Nice.
yeah, against Denmark. It was a very, very big moment for me and my family.
Was your family there? Everyone supporting you?
Yeah, everyone was there. Yeah, so it was like a big moment. Also, my family from Kosovo was there, so it was like a very proud moment going out on the pitch there with the captain's band around your arm. It was a beautiful moment that I will always cherish and have with me.
Awesome, man. What keeps you motivated, Helen? What keeps you motivated to continue to push forward nowadays? I mean, you play 16 years. You can say, "Hey, I'm kind of doing it all," maybe. But like, what's that flame inside of you? Like, how to keep the fire going?
Of course, it's not always easy, especially when you get older. It's after being professional for so long, it also tears a little bit on you, because like you don't have a normal life. You're a athlete 24/7, so what keeps me motivated is it's I love the game. I love to play, I love to train. I love to go out on the stadium, and the stadiums are full. There's a lot of fans there, and then you know give them a good show, a good game to watch, and that keeps me motivated because I just love the game, and it's not always easy, and there's a lot of bad things about the games, a lot of bad stuff going on, and a lot of politics in the game too. But the love for the game, it's always there. And as a player, you always have to have a why. If you don't have a why, it's it's gonna be very hard, to stay in there, especially in those hard times you have.
Yeah. What's your why now then?
My why is to have a lasting impact on the sport I love, and then try to have as good as career as possible, and then of course, like I made a big name of myself, and then try to continue, the path until I retire, and then in the end, I just want to say to myself that I did everything I ever could, and then to be proud, with the career I had, and what I have achieved.
Nice. Yeah. I have a few more questions left here before I let you go. But no, now that you're a seasoned professional player, right? What advice would you give to young players facing their own challenges in the sport?
Just have to stay consistent and resilient in everything you do, even though tough times, they never last, but tough people do. Even though it seems very hard for you at that time, it's gonna pass, eventually. And when you get out of those hard moments, you're gonna get much stronger by it. And then next time you get something tougher happens to you, you get more adversity. You're gonna able to endure it much better. That's the most important thing when you're facing adversity, because if it breaks you, it's gonna be very hard for you when tougher problems are coming. So you just gotta stay consistent, and then know that tough times, they never last.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have something in mind that you can share where you went through a really tough situation and you're like, now thinking back, you're like kind of laughed about, not laughed about it, but like it wasn't that big of a deal. But during that time, you were like, this is the end. You know what I mean? Is it?
Of course, many many times, like especially as a young footballer, you always want to play, you always want to be there, you want to be the guy, you want to show yourself, and you want to go next level. But like sometimes also you have to be patient. You have to be patient, you have to be consistent, you have to work harder. And then there's also some moments in my career where I could have been more patient, like I could have stayed at a club, but instead I wanted to go on loan just because I wanted to play more, like. So it's all about patience. And
Where was that?
the,
How?
when I was in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went on loan instead of just staying at the club. And yeah, maybe things would have changed, but I was not patient enough. I wanted to play. I wanted to show myself. So it also happens like many other moments where now I think like it was not big, I had time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 16 years now.
Like, but now it's easy to say now, but at that time, I was, in my prime. I wanted to play. I didn't have time to sit on the bench and hope for something to happen. But yeah, when you're young, you always think you have a lot of you don't have time, but yeah, you have a lot of time. So you have to use it. It's good.
Yeah. So I mean, that's actually a great advice for I think anyone in any industry as well, right? Like you tend to, when you get frustrated, you get pushed down and everything, you want to like change the environment, but maybe changing your perspective and how do you confront that situation might be better sometimes, right?
Exactly, exactly. Also, if you have people also that's been in the game for a long time, they can also, like give you advice on what and what you should and shouldn't do. That's also very important. At my time, I didn't have so many people around me that's been in the game for long, so I didn't have that kind of support. So I had to do everything myself, learn all the mistakes by myself, and then in the end, I sit with a lot of mistakes I've done, a lot of good things I've done, and a lot of experience, that I can put down to the younger generation and to my future children.
Yeah. Last two questions. Actually, this is kind of like you answered it already, but I want to see what you think of. So, what would you tell your younger self, knowing what you know now?
I would tell my younger self to be more patient and stay more consistent with work. Like trust in the process is something that always comes up, but it's also very very important because like the better you become, year by year, month by month, the more steps you're able to take later in your career too. So it's just it says it's a little bit cliche to stay it, but trust the process is very very important, and stay consistent with your work because if you're not consistent with your work, you will never also develop. And if you don't develop, you don't become better. If you don't become better, you will not also get clubs interested in you. That's also another thing that's very very important.
Speaking of that, is there anything that you kind of like worked on? Let's say, I don't know, free kicks or a pass, a driven pass. Like, is it something that you remember going back and forward, like every after practice that you always wanted to like do and do and do until you learn that? Like, is there anything that you try to did growing up?
Yeah, it's always like a lot of technical skills. I try to develop 1v1 dribbling, you know, uh, a lot of different things, step overs. It's very important because in the game you show yourself because you have to stand out if you want to get noticed by bigger clubs. So it's also very important, like you have to stay consistent with your work, but you don't also have to overdo it because if you overdo it, you become injured. So you need to manage those things. Like for myself, as a young player, I was not able to manage it. I was very eager to work hard. Like I'm from the hardworking school. So the harder you work, the luckier you get. They
Yeah.
always say that, but what I've learned uh, is you have to work consistently. Not just work your ass off, and then in the end you will get injured. So when it was rest days, I never rested. Yeah, I always worked even harder. But when I look at it back in time now, also body needs to reset. To be able to go stronger. If not, you're just gonna hit a wall in the end, and then you become injured, and then you're gonna and then it's gonna get a setback, and then you're gonna get out of shape, and then you're gonna start again, and then it's yeah, it's not been easy, but if you don't have the right people around you to teach you that, it's very hard to teach it yourself as a young kid because you don't know. If you don't have the knowledge, it's very, very hard.
Yeah. Okay. Now, speaking of learning new things or I would say polishing new skills or the same skills you have, do you still do stuff after practice? Or you like, nah, I've done it. Like nowadays, like you don't
Not as much
push.
as I used to do when I was young. Not as much. I don't. Because I'm at an age now where I try to focus on keeping my body fresh and fit all the time instead of overdo it. But sometimes I do touches, passing, finishing, different type of I try to focus on what we're gonna do in the weekend. Watch videos, for example. You can do some set pieces. So I try to do, but not as much as I used to when I was younger.
Yeah. All right. Last question. So, how do you want people to remember you after you retire in this in the football world?
Well, I want people to remember me as a very hardworking guy, a guy who always was consistent. He never was lacking in the training, in the games. He showed great leadership on and off the pitch. It was always positive. Was always giving. Was never giving any problems to anybody. Never any bad episodes, and that's what I want, to have, when I end my career,
Awesome, man. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much, Herolind. It's been a pleasure, honestly, to like talking to you. I think I can dive into so many stories, club, countries, everything you've done. But I really appreciate it for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. I think there's a lot that people can learn from, either if you play sports or you do your everyday life. Little things, just being consistent at work, being consistent as a partner, as a husband, as a, you know what I mean. So I think there's so many little things that we can learn from what you just said, and we really appreciate you, appreciate your time, and good luck with everything that you have going on, your business, your professional career, and we'll see you soon in Miami one day.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you. All right, have a good day.